Let's look at the history of income tax in Uganda, where income tax came from, how it was introduced, and when and then by who. Yeah. Income tax is a direct tax where tax is imposed on the person's income at a specific rate, as we said. Yeah. So taxation, as understood today, was introduced in East Africa by the early British colonial administrators through the institution of the system of compulsory public works like roads, constructions, building of administrative headquarters, schools, forest clearance, and other similar works. So they introduced taxes so that they can be able to finance public work. Yeah, it's the reason why it was introduced by the British in East Africa. And the first formal tax to be introduced in 1900 was a hard tax. It was a local government tax with the aim of attracting citizens into monetary production and to mobilize voluntary labor for the production of cash crops and minerals for export. In 1900, the first common tariff agreement were established between Kenya and Uganda, and through this, Ugandans started paying customs duty as an indirect tax. After that, the government introduced a flat rate, which is poll tax in 1905, following the introduction of cotton growing in Uganda, and it was imposed on all male adults. Yeah, poll tax was paid by everyone, all male, whether you're working or not. So this forced Africans to go into business so that they can be able to get the tax to pay. Yeah. Then in that 1939, income tax was introduced in Uganda, but it was collected jointly with a tax from governments of Tanganyika, which is Tanzania, then Zanzibar and Kenya. The tax was primarily paid by the Europeans and Asian residents because they were the people who were in business or employed by then compared to Africans. But later on, it was extended to Africans. Yeah. Then in 1953, following recommendation by a committee headed by Mr. C.A.G. Wallace, graduated personal tax was introduced to finance local governments. Yeah. The administration of both income tax and customs duty was done by the departments of the East African Community, which is EAC, until its breakup. And the collection of the tax on employment income through pay as you earn, which is pay, was introduced in Uganda in 1967, although it was first introduced in East Africa in 1962 following the enactment of the 1958 East African Management Act. But after the breakup of East African Community, the tax department was transferred to the Ministry of Finance until 1991 when URA was introduced. Uganda Revenue Authority was introduced. And when URA was introduced, income tax was categorized under domestic tax. Then in 1997, the Income Tax Decree of 1974 was repealed and replaced by the Income Tax Act of 1997, which guides tax to debt, although it has been amended over time. Yeah, and that is the brief history of income tax in East Africa. Sorry, not in East Africa, in Uganda.